searching for the break of a day to follow away to you. 'Cause at the end of the day, I ain't looking for no reason to change. 'Cause everything is good for you. Baby, I can see we're gonna shout it out to the sky. Tell our secrets to the night, so we can see the end in sight. We're gonna shout it out to the sky. When I look into your eyes, I can see no better light, better light than love.
Hello, hello, and welcome to Amethyst Racing. Today, we are at Monaco. Around the very rich city. 39 laps for the boys today, 3 sectors as always. Only one DRS straight, currently Lewis Hamilton holding the record in 2019. It's a tricky circuit, lots of hill climb and then a descent. A good few corners, a very short but slow track. We'll be using the softest three compounds today with hard, medium and soft. It's a short qualifying today here at Monaco though, as not many drivers dare wish to take on the track. And the overlay has decided not to work. I wonder if my settings have decided to die. Nope, my settings are fine. Okay then. So, my overlay has decided not to work currently. Why you no work? Oh, stupid thing. We'll just use this. As we see, 10 cars today trying to do Monaco. Who will survive is the real question. As we see, I believe it is Fox Johnson is the first car actually on lap today. Your Season 4 champion making his return to Monaco. My PC deciding not to work right now as he sets the purple sector 1, as you would expect the first car around this track as you come through this tricky left-hander. One of the most painful corners in the world to take in a race car. Now coming through the bridge section filled with the night sky tonight here at Monaco. You'll come out on the bridge and you won't be met by blinding light, instead by the darkness, as we have yellow flags already for an Alpine in the end of Sector 1, start of Sector 2 there. Van Loon engineering for reserving for today, as Fox Johnson's looking very fast still. Coming through now to the final few corners, making sure not to take any wall. Final corner now. It's a drive to the line. You get a little bit of DRS for this. And Fox Johnson sets the first lap of the race with a 1:09. And next up will be Skowski. Skowski, not too far off the pace. Actually, that's over a second off the pace. I stand corrected. The next is going to be Gotting, who's starting his lap. So it is the Ferrari of Caspers, who beats Fox Johnson by 1/10, almost exactly. Now it's going to be Byland. Byland goes 1:13. Definitely didn't enjoy that lap there. And just behind him, Anthony starts his lap as Schrainmakers coming to start his lap now as well. And expect to see Van Loon possibly diving straight. No, Van Loon is going to finish this lap. So Van Loon also looking to set a lap time here. No, he's starting his lap. I stand corrected. Kennedy, though, goes P4 of a 1:10.9. And now it'll be Archie Britton, the new Red Bull team principal. As now it's going to be the House of Gotting coming around that final few corners. We see Michael Schumacher do a little bit of naughty stuff here himself. And Gotting goes P3, splits the two Mercedes. And now it's going to be Anthony coming into the pits. Byland into the pits. So it'll be Schrainmakers, supposedly a purple sector 2. Gets a little bit of a snap on the exit there of the penultimate, the not penultimate corner, the corner before the penultimate corner. And will drive towards the line. And Schrainmakers sets the new fastest lap, as meanwhile Van Loon, who has invalidated, is going around to go again. So currently 2 drivers have yet to set a time. As we follow Van Loon here. And let's ride on board with Van Loon as we come towards the end of Sector 1. Into the Sector 2. We've seen Rosberg do some absolute shenanigans here. Now the tricky left-hander. You want to be maximising the corner angle that you can take there. Then it's through to the dangerous. We saw Perez absolutely put the beans on too early and end it. And now into the tunnel. You don't get met by blinding light though through here. And now the tricky chicane, keeping it nice and tidy. And only a final few corners now for Van Loon. Rides the curb, touches the wall there. I wonder if he got a bit of damage there. We're only a few more corners to go. Van Loon putting it right on the edge. And we'll make a drive towards the line. Lots of short shifting, and Van Loon goes P7, beating both the Red Bulls. So Van Loon beating both Red Bulls there. As now it's going to be, I believe the first car on lap is looking like it's going to be Fox Johnson, looking to get back ahead as Byland has retired. Byland has retired! Let's see if Skowski can show us what's happened. Not by the looks of it. Maybe Kennedy, we ride on board quickly. And Byland has done a Rosberg! Yay. What is it? Oh, it's crashed. That's why the overlay has crashed. One moment. I will get that fixed for the actual race. The overlay has crashed. We love to see it. We love to see it. So Byland is your first casualty in this qualifying. As meanwhile, I believe Fox Johnson was the car on lap first. He's going to be met by a Red Bull. Right, are we doing a lobby restart? If Byland's last, there is no lobby restart. Let's watch this lap and then we'll get the particles on. As Fox Johnson now rounding the final few corners. And we'll now drive towards the line. And Fox Johnson does improve, but it's not enough to dethrone either Ferrari. Meanwhile, it's going to be Anthony who's invalidated. Anthony is yet to set a lap. Let's get these particles on. Graphic settings. You want particles on high. So Anthony looking to actually set a lap time. Meanwhile, Trainmakers. Don't think you're allowed to do that, lad. Skowski, though, on a lap now. Coming across the line. Doesn't improve. Next up is going to be Kennedy looking to jump ahead of the McLaren and Mercedes. And the McLaren goes ahead of the Mercedes. And now it's going to be Caspers. Drives towards the line. Caspers doesn't improve? I don't know. Next is going to be Archie Britton. And Anthony goes P5. Getting a toe from Britton through the final few corners there. So no lobby restart. If you could let the guys know that there won't be a lobby restart. So now I've got to try and get the overlay working. So pardon me while I quickly try and fix this. I'll give you Trainmakers. Oh, drifting. Oh my god. Oh my god, it's just broken, isn't it? Oh, why is it broken? Trainmaker's getting a big old drift. As coming now through the tunnel. Pushing hard. Gonna brake late and then swing it round through the swimming pool section we come. Right on the edge. You want to be almost touching these walls. With a final few corners now for Trainmakers. Can he improve on his time in Monaco? Almost grazes the wall and he's going to instead come in to the pits. Weird flex for Trainmakers. And I think on an in lap. So it's going to be Gotting next. Not on an out lap. Not on a lap either. So it might be Van Loon. Who's currently down on his previous time. Being very safe here. Still ahead of both the Red Bulls though. And Van Loon still driving around this track. But meanwhile, Fox Johnson, who's in the pits, it's actually Skowski on an outlap with think that's Anthony behind him as well, who is on a lap. Or is he starting his lap? It's hard to tell on this track, if I'm honest. So Anthony's starting his lap now. We're going to ride on board with Anthony through the first sector. Coming up to Casino. You want to really roll the dice and put the ball in that roulette table. And then now we come through to Sector 2. Tricky, technical, and the pain. Mounting the curbs as we come now to where Perez supposedly cheated and into the tunnel. And then comes back out of the tunnel and then we'll be breaking down into swimming pool. Right on the limit there, making sure not to cut any of the curbs too much. But he's down on his time, not improving as things stand. And Anthony driving now towards the line. Does improve, but doesn't gain a position. Meanwhile, Gotting has gone up to P3, knocking Fox Johnson down into P4. Qualifying is going to be mightily important here. But Skowski now is 6 seconds down. We missed Skowski have a moment, clearly. And the next one to watch would be Britain. As we have yellow flags for what would I guess would be Anthony. Britain now coming through the final few corners right on the limit will open that flap. And Britain improves to P6. Big gain there from Britain. And the next car to watch, I think Caspers is starting his lap. Or is doing another outlap. So it'll be Fox Johnson, possibly, or Skowski, or Gotting. Gotting is starting his lap. So I think it might be Skowski who's down bad, according to this. So it's not Skowski. So it will be Fox Johnson, who's supposedly very far off his time. As it looks like a Ferrari's had a moment. He's just moving out of the way. I stand corrected. Fox Johnson 4 seconds down according to this. Absolute chaos on the track as somehow with 9 cars. They're all fighting for the same bit of tarmac currently. Fox Johnson not improving. Maybe starting his lap now. As we see Schrainmakers is on a lap. Rear light is flashing. Possibly also starting his lap now. Britain looking like he's going to go for another lap. And Britain starting his lap now as well. Kennedy is a little bit down with only... Is a bit down, more than a little bit down. Kennedy starting lap. Van Loon starting his lap. Skowski then would be my guess of the car that is on lap now. And he is improving. Currently, Skowski is improving, pushing it to the limit, taking as much curb as he can. And Skowski's absolutely butchered the final corner there, ruining his lap. And I don't know if he's got enough time as Anthony does retire in the pits. It's going to be now Fox Johnson coming around, hasn't even found a 10th yet. And Fox Johnson... only good enough for P4 for Fox Johnson. The next up is going to be Schrainmakers, who's invalidated. So Britain is the next car on lap. Can Britain find some time? No, Britain coming into the pits. So next up is going to be Van Loon. With a very speedy Haas right behind him. And Van Loon does improve, and Gotting doesn't seem to improve. So the next is going to be Caspers. Can Caspers... Well, Caspers is almost certain he got pole. Caspers not improving, and Fox Johnson has invalidated, and Skowski can be the only car left on lap, and he's on an in lap. So that is qualifying. Fox Johnson being washed. Ah, what a qualifying. Oh, it did close itself. Perfect. And, oh, boy, it's a wet Monaco. With the rain has came. I was not ready for this. I was not ready for this. I can now. I very much can now. Will it work? As here we go, the 5 lights are out. Intermediate weather for the boys today, and away we go. And into turn 1, it seems like no one really gaining. Will the boys survive is the question. As Britain has had a moment there. Britain at the back now of the pack. And Van Loon also having a moment. Byland up 2 places on this start. Meanwhile, Caspers is pulling away with his teammate in second. And Britain has left the session. So Britain not surviving. And now has Van Loon all over his rear. But back at the front, ooh, Anthony getting a little bit shaky there. Under pressure from Kennedy behind. It's going to be how clean can the boys keep it. Caspers is zooming away from the rest of the pack. Caspers a second and a half to Schrainmakers. Schrainmakers in P2. P3 Gotting. Fox Johnson 4th. Anthony 5th. And it doesn't look like there's any damage there. As Fox Johnson and... Oh my... How has no one died there? Fox Johnson, though, getting damage. And now is unable to take corners, and he's going to be swallowed up by the pack. This is nightmare fuel for Fox Johnson, as he's going to fall all the way back down as he comes into the pit. So it's going to be Caspers leading Schrainmakers with Gotting P3. Anthony now goes to P4. Kennedy P5. Skowski 6th. 7th for Byland. 8th for Britain. 9th for Van Loon, who's also into the pits with fresh intermediate tyres. And he comes out ahead of Fox Johnson still. But meanwhile, Casper's with a commanding lead to his teammate. And Van Loon seems to have had a moment there and he's missed it. He's missing his whole front wing. Van Loon, 2 laps in, is going to be pitting for a second time. All you've got to do is finish to get points. But back to the front as it's going to be Casper's in P1 with a 2 and 3 seconds. Kennedy has already picked up a 3-second penalty. Britain picking up a 3-second time penalty. And meanwhile, is Casper's leading this race with us almost 3 seconds gap to his teammate already. Gotting now into the pits. Gotting with damage. So Gotting will now pit. Everyone seeming to be struggling in these treacherous conditions other than the Ferrari boys. As we see Skowski up into P5. Fox Johnson picks up his first 3-second time penalty already. Oh. And now coming through the end of Sector 1. These boys must be hating life. On a knife edge right now. Skowski with Byland right behind him. Byland has had a very good start. Up 4 places from P10. Skowski here on reserve and being loaned out to Mercedes, normally an Alfa Romeo, but back to the leader. Casper's having a quiet race as he I mean, I'm not drunk, but okay. Casper's having a nice quiet race, leading the field by 3.5 seconds already. But you've got to be careful. One mistake, one lapse in judgment, and then Wolves could claim you. As we see our Season 4 champion, Fox Johnson, with 3 seconds worth of penalties already. Really not enjoying life. As Casper sets a new fastest lap once again. 4 seconds now to second place in Schrainmakers and his teammate. P3 now for Anthony, surviving the first few laps. As Van Loon is 40 seconds adrift from P9 and is almost in the grasps of our race leader already. As Fox Johnson has found some pace in the clean air and sets the new fastest lap. We normally have a bigger grid than this, but not many people dare brave Monaco, and I don't blame them. As we go back to P4, as we've got a bit of a train forming behind Kennedy. Currently running in P4 in the McLaren with Skowski and Byland right behind him. But listen to the sound of the engine through the tunnel. Isn't it glorious? Van Loon has not been enjoying this track. That is for certain. As Gotting now, P9, is getting very loose around this track as Casper's exchanging fastest laps with Fox Johnson. Casper's really feeling himself today around this track. And we look to see Skowski is really falling off the back of Kennedy now. Maybe an error from Skowski or Kennedy having an error and falling back into the clutches of these guys. But meanwhile, Casper's having everyone having a pretty quiet race other than Skowski with Byland behind him keeping him honest. Already saw in qualifying though that Byland can put it in a wall. So he's got to make sure that he's very careful here through this race. Further back, and Fox Johnson is catching up to the back of Britain. Fox Johnson sets a purple Sector 1. Meanwhile, Britain very tentatively going around that double right-hander. Van Lut and Gotting, currently P9. Definitely not enjoying wet Monaco because he was qualified P3. Definitely had the pace to keep up with the Ferraris, but the rain has came and rained on his parade. Casper's though coming through now into Turn 1. Getting a little bit shaky, but doing fine still. And approaching the back marker of Van Loon quite swiftly. And maybe the dirty air of Van Loon will affect Casper's car though. It's something to think about. As now you see Skowski still... Oh, Fox Johnson has got past Britton. Britton may be having damage because Gotting is right behind him. I'll applaud everyone who finishes this track race today, because this cannot be fun. As Trainmakers seems to have caught back to pace, and Van Loon is already one lap down. Getting a little bit sideways, coming through the final corner there. And then you see the second Ferrari, Trainmakers now, fastly approaching that Alpine here. Lap 7 though, for the leaders, as Van Loon just moves out the way for Trainmakers. And Fox Johnson, meanwhile, setting the new fastest lap on the track. And there's yellow flags. It's for Van Loon moving out the way once again. Imagine if Tier 2 is also wet. As Britton has had a moment and Gotting is passed. So Britton falls down to P9. Gotting up to P8. I wonder if there's damage though on that Haas. It doesn't appear so. And Britton, though, is really not enjoying it. Maybe hot intermediates, maybe damage. It's hard to tell currently. Meanwhile, Caspers now has a 5.2 second lead over his teammate. And Fox Johnson is fastly closing onto the back of the Red Bull of Byland. But Fox Johnson needs to make sure he doesn't put it in the wall this time. I know that can be hard for people washed as the washed man himself. But he needs to make sure that he's able to, as he goes the new fastest lap once again for Fox Johnson. Closing rapidly onto the back of Byland, and Byland dropping outside of a second now of Skowski. Not that DRS is a factor here today with the rain, but Fox Johnson has been different gravy in this wet conditions since receiving the damage, but he needs a minor miracle if he wants to have some way of getting back into this race. Meanwhile, back at the front, and it's Casper's basically playing time trial simulator, but this time his tyres get wet, and Fox Johnson is past Byland in the tunnel there. Fox Johnson makes a move in the tunnel, is now up into P6, but does have a 3-second penalty that he will have to gap people with. Will Skowski and Fox Johnson have team orders at play? Skowski only reserving and loaned out. So Skowski could play and try and hold up Fox Johnson to try and help his Alfa Romeo teammates. But Fox Johnson has been on a right charge since doing a heroic send, and Skowski seemingly moving out the way for Fox Johnson. Fox Johnson now up into P5 and will be looking to chase down Kennedy. Both the Irishmen now P4 and P5. But the front three are 5 and 6 seconds abreast. And currently, the story of this race would be Fox Johnson making a heroic send for a move on Gotting, who struggled out of a corner. And then side by side around Monaco, like absolute lunatics, they tried to make the move happen. Wasn't able to do so. Got wing damages and now fighting his way back up through the field. Van Loon, already a lap down, is being closed in on now by 4th place as Kaspers now sets the new fastest lap. The Ferrari reclaiming that fastest lap. As Anthony, who we haven't really featured much on this race today, holding it steady in P3, will be bringing home solid points. With Bento not attending, Williams needs a big performance here from Anthony. And then Kennedy now, with Fox Johnson fastly approaching the rear of him. Bento's internet died. Oof. Oof. Meanwhile, I think I'm going to order my dinner now. I think I'm going to need it for this race. Oh, my phone's going to die. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I am hungry. I want everyone to know that I'm once again missing an Arsenal game to commentate Monaco. The pain and suffering. But here we have Kennedy having to defend Fox Johnson. Fox Johnson rapidly gaining on him through the tunnel. Maybe expect to see a move soon by Fox Johnson. Fox Johnson seemingly having a lot of pace on Kennedy. Oh my. They're side by side. Fox Johnson is ahead. That was... I don't know how comfortable I felt about two cars going side by side through Monaco. But it has just happened and Kennedy loses a position to Fox Johnson. Fox Johnson has been on a right charge back up to his starting position. And his next car in his sights is currently Van Loon. As you see, Van Loon currently a lap down. Will surely move out the way of these guys very soon. And currently all 10 cars are still driving around the track somehow. I think it's only going to take one car though to crash to bring out a safety car. As yes, Monaco, known for its very tight street circuit and very punishing. We've seen multiple big crashes here. For instance, Daniel Ricciardo's had a massive smash a few years ago. Mick Schumacher also last year having a big, tearing the car in half basically, his Haas. But so far, all of the drivers, other than the odd wing loss, have been holding it steady. As now Fox Johnson, we watch that gap to Anthony. Is it coming down? Is it going up? And it does look like Fox Johnson is somewhat gaining on Anthony. Not by much, as the gap actually increases on the straight here. As meanwhile, Kaspers now have a 6.4 second lead. Is now approaching the rear of Britain. We're 12 laps in on this 39 lap race. And Kaspers coming through now the tunnel. Must be twiddling his fingers, I would assume, in boredom. But still can't have a lapse in concentration, because one lapse can spell the end of your race here in Monaco. Gosh, I remember when cars were a lot smaller than this. Overtaking in Monaco was still hard, but it was doable. As meanwhile, the gap to his teammate is now 7 seconds. He's opened that gap up even more than before. And Kennedy gets another 3-second penalty, but Kaspers sets a new fastest lap once again. That Ferrari is flying today. Oh, I need some food. .5 seconds now is Kaspers Anthony gaining a little bit on Trainmakers the last few laps. So, it's not over yet. And as I say that, Fox Johnson's gap to Anthony is only going down by maybe a tenth a lap. But Caspers is just pulling pace out of this car at any given moment. Has it stopped raining? Caspers sets a new fastest lap once again, and it does look like the rain has stopped. Could we expect to see the guys switching from wet to dry? Are we going to get people taking risks? And are we going to see people going in too early and absolutely binning it? There is a possibility that Monaco is drying out as Fox Johnson now sets the new fastest lap of the race. Once again, Fox Johnson and Caspers exchanging fastest laps. I think Monaco is about to get a lot more dangerous, because an ever-changing track is probably the worst thing to be having to be going through. As meanwhile, Skowski and Byland recommence their battle. As Byland fastly approaching the back of Skowski here. But Skowski on that tunnel, just able to pull out enough. Meanwhile, Trainmaker's almost 9 seconds behind his teammate, as we see Britain now pulling out to the side to allow so they'll let Trainmakers through, but the rain has stopped and the track is starting to dry out. Who will be the first to dive into the pits? And will it be the hard compound or the medium compound tyre that we see put on? I wouldn't expect Caspers to be the first one to bite, purely because he's got track position and a nice stable gap. There is no need for him, and as you can see, there's still spray kicking up from the car, so the track still not dry, but it's definitely drying up compared to what it was. As meanwhile, Fox Johnson has already left Kennedy behind by about 10 seconds, just like his father left him. And Anthony keeping within 6.5 seconds of Trainmakers here. And let's ride on board for Anthony for a lap here. Coming through turn 1 now. Really fighting the car up this hill. It is an uphill battle around the wet Monaco, that is for certain. And as you see Britain now with Anthony fast approaching him. He's being waved the blues and Britain moves out of the way. Anthony now. There's still a lot of spray kicking up though from these cars. The track's still not dry enough, I would have thought, but you can see a dry line starting to form as Anthony almost whips his wheel off. And we've got a yellow flag and it's for Byland. Byland pulling a Rosberg, but somehow Not getting any damage there, but falls back behind Gotting. Is it the tyres overheating? Or is it, oh, he's getting very sideways there. Big risks. Who will risk the dry compound? Because you see, it's still spraying off the back, but Barland all over the place now. As you see, Gotting will be now the next car to be approaching. Oh, he's drifting it around that corner as well. Some of these guys absolutely throwing it around. Where is the action to follow? It is probably Gotting who's making inroads. But meanwhile, I guess the car to watch would probably be Casper's. As you see, as soon as they come out of that tunnel, it still absolutely sprays. So I still don't believe the track is dry enough. And Casper's getting a little bit wobbly there. Coming through the... I don't know the name of that corner, sadly. But was very shaky on throttle. Still a dangerous track. Definitely not drying out as fast as expected. As Fox Johnson has actually closed the gap on... Oh, Britain picks up a 3-second for cutting, sadly. What, the corner Britain's coming up to now is not swimming pool, is it? Actually, we're gonna ride on board with Gotting because he's got the rear of Skowski. Oh! That was very close. I generally thought we was about to see a rear wheel get ripped off then. I thought Gotting, taking it just a little too tight, was about to end his own race. But he's still going. As Caspers now has an 11-second lead over his teammate, with Anthony now falling a little bit further back, and Fox Johnson is making big inroads onto the back of Anthony. Further back is Kennedy, now just in a race of his own, no one around at all. And then Skowski Gotting all over his rear, really putting the pressure on. But Gotting is all over the back here of Skowski again. Gotting showing that he's definitely found his pace. Is he going to look at make a move where Fox Johnson tried to send one on him? Thinks better of it. But he's right behind the rear of Skowski. If he can just get past Skowski, maybe he can start to make gains on Kennedy. Because Skowski hasn't been losing too much time to Kennedy. In fact, with Gotting behind him, Skowski's being pushed along near enough. And this is 4P6. Gotting maybe thinking about making a heroic up for Sander Vaught. Thinks better of it though. And just hold station behind. Oh! Oh my. Side by side. What a move by Gotting. Gotting up through Casino. Gotting up to 6th. Skalski dropping down to 7th. That took some absolute cojones. As Kaspers sets the new fastest lap. They're now in the 1:20.8. And really starting to find some time here is Kaspers. And there's a yellow flag, and it looks like, is that for Britain? It was Britain moving out of the way of Skalski and Gotting as Fox Johnson exchanges a fastest lap with Kaspers. These two have been trading fastest lap in, lap out, as Van Loon goes 2 laps down. So Van Loon on lap 19. The leaders now on lap 21. But that gap, Fox Johnson has been making gains on Anthony. Anthony now 9 seconds behind Schrainmakers. Schrainmakers 11 seconds. And is that Byron or is that Britain? That is Britain, who has almost ended his race there. As Byron goes past him to lap him. So Britain not having a race to remember, sadly. And Britain now 1 minute 18 behind Byland. Surely that will be more. And Fox Johnson sets another fastest lap. Fox Johnson really gaining on Anthony, starting to really apply some pressure. As Gotting has already gapped Skalski by 5 seconds and making inroads now on Kennedy. This is just who has got cojones and or the patience to make the move in the right place. As we switch back to the leader now, who's approaching both the Red Bulls. Oh, as Anthony picks up a 3-second penalty, which is also massive because now it's going to be currently, as it stands, settled on track. And Fox Johnson again sets the fastest lap. He's really starting to reel in Anthony here. Fox Johnson may not have had the 1 lap pace, but he's flying around Monaco now in this seemingly drying up track. Not fully dry yet, but you can start to see the racing line is starting to become quite prominent as the cars go around. Maybe expect to see someone take a gamble and go onto the medium compound. Or even possibly the softs now. The softs might not last. But Fox Johnson rapidly approaching the back of Anthony. But when you come into this section, it seems a lot wetter than Sector 1 and 2. Well, Sector 1 seems nice and dry, but Sector 2 definitely still damp. A man we haven't really spoken about today, Schrainmakers, having a nice quiet race. No one anywhere near him either way. And I guess he's just having a good old vibe. I don't blame him. I don't blame him. Fox Johnson setting once again the fastest lap. This track must be nearing dry conditions, because that's a 19.4. He's taking time off his lap every lap now. As let's ride on board with Fox Johnson through Sector 2. You can see Anthony now. He can see Anthony. And this will really start to put pressure on Anthony. Anthony got to make sure he doesn't make a mistake as Gotting sets the new fastest lap in that Haas. Gotting has found some pace now as he's approaching the back of Kennedy. And he's fastly approached the back of Kennedy as we got a yellow flag. And that is for Byland. Byland being slow and struggling as Casper's now lapping both Britain and coming to approach the back of Byland. As Gotting has lost a little bit of time to Kennedy. Both Gotting approaching Kennedy and Fox Johnson approaching Anthony. But it's hard to gauge how dry the track actually is. Because as soon as they come out of this tunnel, the spray that they kick back up is very visible as Fox Johnson now sets the fastest lap once again. Gotting maybe not going to be trading the fastest lap as he's right behind Kennedy now. 6/10 as we're going to ride on board with him. Both of them really trying to greed as much curb as possible. Tight as possible, maximising corner entry and exit. And then putting the pedal to the metal. And Gotting does take a bit more curb and loses a little bit of time in Sector 1 to Kennedy. As meanwhile, Fox Johnson is also on the back of Anthony now, both within a second of the car in front. But this is Monaco and overtaking is not an easy task.
Jesus, this is boring.
Yeah. Chappers, I would agree with you. This hasn't been... oh, Anthony's into the pits! And so Shrainmakers. Shrainmakers had to put a new nose on! Shrainmakers having to put a new nose! That's massive! We missed him get damage and Anthony onto mediums! Anthony coming out ahead of Shrainmakers. We missed Shrainmakers get damage. Anthony taking a big risk. What tyres Shrainmakers come out on? Both of them on medium tyres. Oh! Anthony getting very sideways here. And Shrainmakers will be right behind him. We didn't catch him quite see him get the damage, but we see him having to replace his nose. And it's all to play for now. This could be 4P3 as Gotting now comes into the pits as well. He's out of the pits, comes back out behind Skowski. As Casper's still not pitting. But Shrainmakers all over the back of Anthony. Shrainmakers without a 3-second penalty. Anthony with one. As the leading two now both don't come into the pits. But watch that gap between Anthony and Fox Johnson, because once their mediums are into range, maybe we will see as Fox Johnson sets the fastest lap. And Byland now into the pits for medium tyres. So a lot of the cars choosing to come in for mediums. Anthony and Shrainmakers though were the first two to go for it. And now they're about to set their first full lap on these tyres. Shrainmakers getting a bit of a snap. And the gap to Fox Johnson and Anthony seems to be increasing. Maybe they've come out a bit too early. I'm going to get my food quickly. I'll be one moment as you can watch these two trying to keep the cars on the track. I have returned, and Strainmakers and Anthony still losing time to Fox Johnson. Maybe it was a bit early to go out onto these mediums, but the track definitely drying up. It's a very close call. And Strainmaker's getting all wobbly, and Van Loon has had a moment. And he's lost an end plate once again, so Van Loon with wing damage again. Not a race to remember for Van Loon, losing it in the swimming pool chicane. But currently it is a battle for, oh, is that Britton and Van Loon both into the pits? And Strainmakers is, now that, oh, it's definitely a lot drier. As Caspers and Fox Johnson are both pit as well. And, Caspers with so much free time. Fox Johnson comes out behind the Red Bulls, who are a lap down on him though. But he's gained so much time on Anthony and Strainmakers, who he was behind on track.
Ferrari Masterclass.
As Anthony now sets the fastest lap. Fox Johnson with 2 Red Bulls. Now in a Red Bull sandwich. Caspers though has had the most quietest race I think anyone could ask for. 10 laps to go. He's led every lap. Every single lap has been led by Caspers. As Skowski now comes into the pits, Gotting is right on the back of Kennedy. And DRS is enabled. I mean, the reason it is night chap is because look how beautiful it looks. I mean, it was always going to be a night race. It was declared a night race, and that is how it is staying, I'm afraid. As everyone now starting to trade fastest laps. Gotting, though, will be in DRS of Kennedy. Really starting to apply the pressure. And here we have the first bit of DRS action in Monaco. Doesn't really do much though. It's Monaco. But yes. As Caspers now sets the fastest lap. Will Fox Johnson reply? According to the game, that's a purple sector 2. Yellow flags though, as it looks like a Red Bull's had a moment. And it's Britton. Britton has had a moment and spun. As Fox Johnson sets the fastest lap of the race. Him and Caspers trading fastest laps. But back to the battle for P5. Because Gotting is all over the rear of Kennedy. I know, 10 drivers. Dare brave do Monaco. As Caspers, once again, sets the fastest lap of the race. Will Fox Johnson be able to apply the gap? Staying about the same. And Fox Johnson does not set the fastest lap of the race. So Caspers now holds fastest lap. Skowski a lap down. As meanwhile Anthony and Schrainmakers are duking it out for the final podium position. Currently Schrainmakers with that nose damage, which we didn't quite catch. We just saw him having to get a nose replacement. May be costing him a step on the podium here. That alongside the pair of them coming in a lot earlier than expected, and allowing Fox Johnson to leapfrog them both in the pit window by quite a bit as well. As Caspers comes around the final corner again and lights up the timing board once again, will Fox Johnson be able to reply? And the answer is yes, Fox Johnson with an even faster lap. And now the battle for 5 and 6 is also heating up. Gotting all over the rear. Off Kennedy, these two battling it out. As I would like to see what penalties everyone has actually. So Fox Johnson with 6 seconds, Anthony with 3, Schrainmakers with 3, Kennedy and Gotting with 6. So this is an important battle. And Schrainmakers has closed right up to the back of Anthony. Both of them getting a little bit fishtaily though through that corner. I remember Michael Schumacher binning it into the wall to keep his pole spot here. Because pole is basically as good as winning the race normally. As that gap between Caspers and Fox Johnson is coming down. But there is not enough laps for anything to really happen. Byron picking up a 3-second time penalty for multiple corner warning infringements as well now. But Schrainmakers all over the back, mate, looking for a move, side by side. The lap car, Britain as well. Not Britain, that might be Byland. Really playing a part here, moves out the way now. That was close. Both of them battling to get that final step on the podium. Very tight stuff. As Van Loon has gone on to the soft tyre, maybe looking to steal the fastest lap away from Caspers and Fox Johnson. Meanwhile, back to the battle for 3rd place. And it's Schrainmakers right behind Anthony here. It is very close indeed. But again, where do you overtake? I don't blame you. I don't blame you. It has been, yeah. Chappers, I want you to know I was against it. Don't put this on me. I'd rather do Baku again. Surprisingly, there's been less murder attempts today. Singapore was quite a good race last time. Singapore was good. Oh! Oh, Anthony drifting it. Yeah. Yeah, possibly. As Biden picks up another 3-second penalty. Next season, we're taking out this track and we're putting Japan back in. Aye. As Casper's on his penultimate lap. Has got a bit of traffic coming up. I don't know why this is a track in real life, but again, we move. So currently, the big battles is Gotting right behind Kennedy and Schrainmakers right behind Anthony. Meanwhile, Caspers has one more whole lap to do. Let's ride on board with Caspers. He's been leading from start to finish. Really go for the fastest lap. He's got a bit of traffic in front of him. And by a bit, I mean absolute chaos. That's probably going to ruin his chances of fastest lap, sadly. So the Grand Slam slipping away from him to the hands of Red Bulls. But here we have Britain getting a 3-second penalty for multiple corner infringements again. Oh, and he hits the wall! He gets wing damage! Britain gets some wing damage, almost ripping his tyre off. Oh no. Oh no, I just realised the bet I made. Oh no. But here we have Caspers brings it home. P1 for Wesley Caspers. Fox Johnson with a recovery drive. Gonna finish P2. Oh! Schrainmakers is missing another wing. If he killed Casper's final lap, it would have been chaos. But here we have Anthony, P3. Strainmaker's missing his wing. Will finish P4. Kennedy with Gotting right behind him. As Gotting pushing hard gets wing damage, end plate damage. There'll be Ryan Kennedy P5. Gotting finishing P6. And that is the final few cars to go around Monaco in Tier 1. Ah. Oh, I've got to do this again. But here you have Wesley Caspers led from the start to the finish, battling with Fox Johnson for fastest laps. A very much deserved Monaco survivor and winner. As we're going to get ready to do the interviews as well. Oh. Skowski and Caspers, the only two without any penalties. Oh, I'm not even in live on air. What the? Why, what was that? Is that Alpine's first points of the season? That is banter. That is actual banter. Ah, yours. Got to do it all again on Sunday. I hated that. That was 39 laps of pure pain. But anyway, let's bring the Ferrari boys up. Caspers, firstly going to come to you. P1 from start to finish. Must feel good. Again, solid points. A 1-4. Strainmakers, we didn't see what happened, but as you came into the pits for the mediums, we noticed that you got wing damage. Oh boy. And chat wants to know. Oh, one moment. I've got you guys muted. Oops. So Caspers, your race. Talk us through your race again.
I drive 39 laps completely alone. Now, it was good. I created a big gap on Alex. I saw he just putting away from me, and Yeah, just had a right call with my engineer. He gave me the right call when to pit. My tires were really done. It was like on 75%, so nearly a puncture. Luckily, that's not happened. But yeah, just chilling. Just don't break my front wing. That was the most important thing at the whole race. Just chilling and just driving to the finish line.
And was there ever a moment where you almost lost the car?
Um, yeah, like on my odd lap on the mediums, I tried to get full throttle somewhere, and it was not a really best option. I nearly spun, but luckily I didn't though.
And next up is Silverstone. So we go back to a proper circuit now. Are you boys
Yeah.
excited for that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
last
very good on
season
the
I
track.
spun. Last season I spun, so hopefully not this season. And yeah, let's see where I can end. I think I'm quite good on super, so if I just practice a bit and yeah, I think I can fight for podium 100%.
And Marco, you must be very happy with the results today.
Oh yeah, I couldn't be more happier. Fortunately for Alex, he didn't do. He didn't get P2, which he deserved. But it is what it is.
Oh,
See
I
some
deserved
reports
P3, but
afterwards.
Johnson was too fast. Sadly, my main road, but yeah. I'm looking forward.
It's gonna be a 1-2 next week.
And we'll see
Maybe,
about that.
maybe.
We'll see about that.
Martin is gonna drive, you know.
That of Silverstone Sweaty's here, so we're gonna
Yeah.
see.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
Silverstone is a big fan favourite between a lot of drivers, so expect to see
Yeah.
some time just shoot up. Anyway, is there anything else you boys would like to add before we go down to the Mercedes team? And I think that's everyone for interviews today.
Yeah, that's it for me.
And
See you
Showmaker?
next week.
Yeah, just it's a good race. Sadly, my wing broke, but I think we'll get strong on this. What is it called? So.
Silverstone.
Yep.
Alright. Well, congratulations, boys. 1-4. Solid race
Thank you,
weekend,
thank you.
and you survived.
Thanks.
Yeah, luckily.
Thank you.
And now let's bring up the Mercedes team, as they're the only people in here.
Hello.
Hello. P2 and P7?
That's right.
You survived Monaco, not
Barely.
for not for, you know, making stupid sends in crazy places.
Yeah, we don't talk about that. I honestly take full responsibility for that. I still need to watch the clip back. But I just tapped the wall and I went into Gotting. So yeah, that's on me, and I apologise to Gotting and Haas.
It appeared you was the only one at the time who got damaged, though.
Yeah. Enjoying your crisps.
Huh? No, I got pizza.
Oh, you got pizza.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, I got damage, which I think was punishment enough. I dropped down to the back of the grid, which was fantastic. And yeah, I mean, I just pushed and pushed, and Potts played a massive part in me getting P2 with that strategy call. We kept saying it's not the time, and when it finally came the time, we came out about 10 seconds ahead of Shrainmakers and Galaxy.
And Skowski, you were battling it out with Gotting for a while there. How is it that you feel that you survived Monaco?
I feel pretty happy that I survived, but I personally I wouldn't call this a race. From my perspective, it was like a little trip to Monaco because I was so slow. I knew I would be so slow. The second I saw it was gonna be raining in the race, so yeah. But I think yeah, I did a pretty good job. keeping Fox Johnson's mind at peace. So yeah, it is a very good comeback by him.
And solid points again for you boys. You must be very happy with that, keeping you both in the drivers, Fox, and solid points for the constructors for the pairing of you.
I think so.
Yeah, I think today I messed up qualifying badly. I knew my wet pace was better than my dry pace is at any track really. So when I saw it was going to rain, I was like, thank God, I've got a chance, and I decided to have a brain fart and clatter myself in the wall. But yeah, overall, I think going from like the back of the grid, 15 seconds behind everyone to P2, only 16 seconds behind Casper's. I couldn't be more happy, and fastest lap on top of that. So it's damage limitation, really.
You were flying today, man.
And that brings me on to the next point. Is this really a battle between Ferrari and Mercedes?
Of course it is. I'm still yet to. I mean, Bahrain was a good start, but these last couple races, I've either had something happen to me or I've made mistakes. So I've just been very unlucky these last few races. But looking ahead to Silverstone, I'm going for the win. I won there last year. I feel like I can dominate again this year.
Is there anything else you guys would like to say?
I'm not really. Go on, go on.
Go ahead, Skalski.
Okay. I am not really looking forward to Sunday, to be honest.
Oh yeah, I forgot you have to do 2 races at Monaco.
Yeah.
Oh, poor lad.
Maybe it might rain again. Full wets.
Please don't jinx it. Please.
I must admit,
beg you.
I enjoyed the wet. I think it was a lot of fun. It was the first race with rain this year, so or this season. Sorry. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun.
And I didn't.
Anyway, thank you very much and congratulations on your results today, boys.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Would Van Loon like to come up? Put your hands if you do want to. He does. Van Loon, you survived.
Well, I don't know if you can call it surviving, but we got a point.
Did you see the checkered flag?
I saw the checkered flag. Lap
Then you
35.
survived. Then you
Okay.
survived. Oh no.
We'll take it.
Oh no, I've just dawned on me. Oh, I'm going to have to do a shoey.
Wait, why? Now?
Because me and Skalski made a bet after this stream. Oh no.
But if he got points or something.
Yeah.
That was hard today.
And yeah, it's an absolute chaotic race. I bet the rain coming was not your happiest sight.
No, not really. In quali, I was quite fast if I got blocked by McLaren, and otherwise I would have been P6. Well, I thought, well, or I thought before the quali I would be like a second off P9 or something, but no, that was good. And then the rain came, and I crashed into turn 1, and yeah, the race was not my most fun race I've ever had, but we made it.
Survived and scored points.
Yeah, that's more than my drivers guys say, I think. Are they?
Very true. With are you racing on Sunday?
I am, sadly, but
So you've got to do it all over again with Skalski.
Yep.
You looking forward to it?
Well, if it doesn't rain, but I think you just jinxed it, so we're gonna be fucked. No, not.
And is there anything else you'd like to say?
Um, hmm. I want to say something to my drivers, but
Is it PG-13?
wait, what? PG-13?
not. Is it rated E for everyone that you want? There's things that you want to say.
No, I'll just keep it to myself for now, just to be safe.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, congratulations on finishing on
First point
Monaco
of the
and
season.
scoring points. 1 point could make the difference. And good luck on Sunday.
Thank you very much. I'll need it.
All right.
And good luck with the shoey.
Anyway, that has been it from me. It's been Martin riding solo. I'll see you again on Sunday as we have to do this all over again. Maybe it will rain once again. But for now, goodbye.